I thought she was gone. She came back to deliver us another banger. She is still talking. Every moment she doesn't shut up equals more content for us, baby. So let's get into it.
Tuning in, we've got some more exceptional behavior from English voice actors to take a look at in this video to get a laugh from, starting with this post on our Genshin Impact where they call out Paimon VA, Karina Bogar.
Dumbass.
And spoiler alert right away, it's actually even worse than this because after this post was made, Karina got even worse. We'll get to that.
No way.
So they say,
because I've seen this. I haven't. Well, I've seen vaguely this. How did it get worse?
VA, who has worked the entirety of the
quote-unquote
strike, retweets telling her fellow VAs who are financially struggling due to the strike to suck it up. Also dismisses the need of fan support. Yeah, that's going to be a recurring theme throughout this video because we're going to take a look at a few other posts as well from VAs who are like, oh, we don't need the fans. Like, screw the fandoms. Yeah, coming from the same people who tried to manipulate the fandoms, manipulate the fans into supporting them for months. Now that that's failed and they got called out for their lies, oh, we don't need those people. We don't need them. It's actually impressive how these VAs and the other SAG-AFTRA bootlickers are so good at making themselves come off unlikable. It seems so effortless for them, like it just comes so natural. And so the context here is the screenshot included of Karina's Blue Sky account where she's reposting Blue Sky posts like this.
Saying the strike will end, we get our deal, and saying to suck it up. Why would you ever want to deal with people like this, man? Like, legit, just get them out of the company.
Shauna Breyer had said, we covered this yesterday, hey, I'm going to be real. To all the rich VAs saying this strike needs to end because your bottom line is starting to hurt, suck it up. Those of us at the bottom who have a heck of a lot more to lose are running Uber Eats, etc. to make it through this. The strike will end when we get our deal.
Okay. Or you could just, I don't know, do your job and then not ask people for sympathy when you're not doing your job. What the fuck?
As mentioned, I already commented on that yesterday, as well as some other stuff that Shauna said. But there is actually something new I want to show you guys regarding Shauna Breyer that I think you'll find amusing. First, the other two retweets here in the screenshot, both from a little Karibo. The first one saying, I remember seeing someone post, one of the most important things in the strike is fan support, and they've lost ours. And thinking to myself, I rather doubt when the steelworkers refused to work, they were super concerned with how their fan base perceived it.
Okay, there's a big difference between voice acting in a game and providing steel to forge national or things that are needed on a national level. Like, what is this, bro? How is this little Karibo guy this stupid?
How tone deaf do you have to be? Little Karibo, are you kidding me? So first of all, the strikes that he's referring to from the steelworkers, this was stuff that occurred around 100 years ago. If not more than that in some cases.
This is insane.
Quite a different set of circumstances.
Yeah,
and
you
I don't
think
the steelworkers were concerned about their fan base because they never had an online fan base that they were asking for support, obviously. How is he actually trying to compare that to a strike in the entertainment sector against video games?
Now I get why he's a voice actor, because bro couldn't hack it anywhere else, brother. Bro is just lucky that he can talk goofy. Jesus, man. This fame and success just falls on some people's lap where they get told, hey, talk in the funny voice and read these lines. Guys, trust me, my opinion is important. Shut the fuck up.
Companies where the union that's holding the strike has openly been asking for fan support. In which case, yes, the current SAG-AFTRA video game strike is absolutely concerned with how fan bases are perceiving the strike. And I have evidence of that. And it's crazy that little Karibo's out here acting like this is not a thing. Does he even know the strike that he's supporting? Like, what?
The worst thing is there's no one calling him out on this. And the like to dislike or the like to comment retweet ratio is completely normal. What the fuck? He's not even a voice actor. He just did the abridged Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Oh, stop, bro. Stop.
They're all about, because it seems like he doesn't understand what he's trying to defend. And I'm about to show you why little Karibo and Karina Bogar are very foolish for making those tweets, and it shows that they don't even know what they're talking about, as I have SAG-AFTRA as
Wait, you're telling me Karina Bogar, the voice of Paimon's an idiot? I would have never guessed.
own website here, and I'll show you what I mean. But first, before we get to that, we have to interrupt this program, because do you remember yesterday when we were talking about that crazy person Dawson on Blue Sky who was saying that if you criticize SAG-AFTRA, you're alt-right, and that people are just spreading hero hate propaganda? You know, it's a bunch of nonsense. But now,
if you say support our troops and terrorism bad, I also found out that you're alt-right as well. These people are fucking retarded.
Prepare to be radicalized even further, because once again we've got some adorable art. This one from Free My Soul, appreciate you. And for all the people who keep leaving
would have been better if it was AI
comments, well, you're definitely gonna like this one that I was sent from Okineto and Anon, so thank you both. And yeah, it's definitely accurate.
What is that?
You can find the full thing on Blurred on my VTuber Twitter account, linked in the description and or pinned comment. Okay, now that you guys have been radicalized, back to the main topic. We were discussing how little Karibo and Karina Bogar were attempting to make the argument that the SAG-AFTRA strike against video game companies doesn't need fan support, which is hilarious because the policies from SAG-AFTRA and their own executives disagree, which make Karina Bogar and little Karibo sound very foolish. Case and point, on SAG-AFTRA.org, they literally have a section for how fans can support their strike. This is clearly indeed something.
Just to let you know, Karina was voicing Paimon in Genshin 5.6 story, hypocrisy at its finest. Oh, yeah, of course. She wants everybody else to do the hard work while she reaps all the rewards. So she's a fucking hypocrite, 100%.
Something that they perceive as important, despite what Little Kribo on Blue Sky might be saying and or suggesting. SAGafter.org says, for fans, why should the strike matter to video game fans? But we're going to skip to this part specifically where they say, how can I show support for the striking video game performers? You can help amplify our messages online using hashtag level up the contract, hashtag video game strike, and hashtag SAGafterStrong. Click here for a look at how you can engage in this fight. Have another idea or want your support? Reach out to us here. How about we click the link? Yeah, dude, look at this. They got a whole other section here. Video game performers are stuck in a grind. AI is stealing voices, and companies are hoarding profits. The future of voiceover and performance capture artists is at stake, but our fight isn't single player. Oh, wow, how meta. Whether you're a gamer, a fan, a performer, a labor ally, or just someone who believes in fairness.
Like this reads like one of those signs that 12-year-olds have on like the outside of their bedroom where it's like, careful, real gaming hours are occurring. I might rage on you if you enter. Enter at your own risk. I paused my game to be here. Like, oh, bro, it's so cringe.
Fighting is real. Hey, but fairness, you want to talk about fairness when you guys openly disparage non-union VAs, call them lesser quality and like not as talented and that you guys are better and all that, but okay, fairness, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't fit their narrative, so why would they bring it up?
Union protections on a game you're working on or have been offered a job on, it's not as hard as you might think. Contact our organizing team for more
Video games don't make me angry. Lag does.
information. So they got this whole social media toolkit petition they want you to sign. Report strike breaking, aka be a rat, be a snitch, go get mad at people like Jake Takanashi and feel all virtuous. Here's another example because back in 2023 at Comic-Con, a number of voice actors, a part of SAG-AFTRA, got together to hold a panel where a large part of that panel was explaining why they need fan support and how fans can support the strike. Here's some of the stuff that they were saying. All the voice actors on the panel agreed that people within fan communities can be proactive in helping to shut down harmful fan mods by publicly calling out the creators and telling them to take those mods down. If you see someone's voice being used and you know
how
they don't consent,
noble,
call the modder out, VA Jones said. And where they say Jones there, they mean voice actress Sissy Jones. Continuing, they say, secondly, the panelists said,
man, you cannot waterboard made it. Have that as my official title.
Is that not one of the most lame things you've ever heard, guys? They are literally suggesting that you take your cosplay and you put some sort of SAG support on it. I don't know, like a patch that says support the strike or something. Like, dude, what? Come on, guys. It's worse.
Yeah, maybe if they didn't spend the last 2 years lying to their community, maybe more people would want to support it.
Forgot it gets worse. I've read this like a month ago, but I forgot.
Just a guess.
Let me just read. Here you go.
Just a guess.
Crabtree, Ireland. Yeah, the person, by the way, who essentially said that non-union talent are lesser quality. That was like a quote from him, if I recall. It's like the national director of SAG and chief negotiator, I believe. I believe those are his titles. Anyways, dude says, or they say, Crabtree, Ireland clarified that while SAG members and influencers are barred from cosplaying under the terms of the strike, it's okay for hobbyists to cosplay. My suggestion to cosplayers would be that if you are supportive of the strike, figure out a way to combine your support for the strike with your favorite characters. Oh my gosh, bro. Then you're actually helping us send the message we're trying to send, which is that the community at large is united in supporting us in the demands that we're making, which are reasonable demands, by the way. Yeah, right. But yeah, then you got these complete geniuses, Karina, Bogar, Paimon VA, and Little Kribo over on Blue Sky, acting like they don't need fan support at all. And do you remember Little Kribo's good buddy Kaiser Neko? He previously said that he was done talking about any of this stuff in reference to all this SAG-AFTRA VA stuff. Well, I guess he's not against reposting stuff related to it, as he reposted what Little Kribo said. Guess he really likes that point about steelworkers. Thinks that's a great point. So yeah, it's absolutely hilarious that Little Kribo and Karina Bogar and some others that are probably responding to this stuff and liking it and also reposting on their Blue Skies, well, they're all saying that they don't need.
See, the problem with people who live in echo chambers is they'll cite things that make no sense as long as it even slightly co-aligns with their narrative. And they're just hoping that their community is just as brainless as they are. That way they'll also mindlessly gobble it up, bro. It's embarrassing.
The fan support. Meanwhile, SAG-AFTRA on their own website are asking for fans to support them. They've gone on record at panels, including SAG executives on said panels, trying to get fans to support them. Now let's have some fun by taking a look at the top comments in that Reddit post and what they got to say about Karina and Little Kribo. I still find it hilarious how one of the sole individuals still supporting the strike is still doing the work, and gets more work than anyone else at that. Which is hilarious, as the whole movement would have way more leverage if the single most important character, with 100 times more voice lines than all these striking VAs combined, also refused work. Quite opposite, I think. Pretty sure.
How do you become a member? You just got to pay the low price of $4,000.
So she never comes back. As a Paimon hater, I would definitely want her to stay mute. I hope she gets recasted. And yeah, by the way, there has been petitions that people have made to get Karina recast, to get her removed from being the VA for Paimon. Continuing, everything I learned about Karina is against my will, and it makes me hate her so much more. Do you guys remember when, like, the biggest issue?
I had a full guttural reaction hearing Paimon's voice again in the game. Just absolute embarrassment. Like, embarrassment and just discontentment and disgust, knowing that that woman is still working that job despite everything she's done and said about the community. It's pathetic.
Few people out with Karina was that she was trying to say that Paimon is non-binary. It was like getting mad at anyone who pointed out that Paimon isn't non-binary. Didn't it kind of all start with that? I think that was like the first controversy, at least the one that I first was aware of. It's gotten so much worse since then. Next comment. At this point, what is Karina not saying to anger the Genshin community and call for her resignation? Not gonna lie, I think her contract was well written in her favor.
And it's even worse now knowing what she looks like. That makes me even more disgusted.
Stopping her yet after all this terrible social media she's doing. Well, she just might be overconfident with Koyo not really paying attention.
Because not only is she a bad person, guys, she's even done the worst cardinal sin that any human being can do. Guys, she's ugly. Can you believe that? She's ugly. And in my books, that should be illegal.
And for now. The thing is, recasting someone takes time, and who knows what the disciplinary structure within Hoya looks like. I would not be surprised if they are already internally debating whether keeping her or recasting her costs more money in the end, which is why linking financial support to the recast of Ian Paimon in surveys and in public could be important, both in the Ian space and hopefully in the CN and JP spaces as well for added pressure. That's interesting. Yeah, I haven't really seen the JP community talking about this. They might be. I just might not have seen it, but we definitely know the CN community has been talking about this.
Why have I never seen an attractive woman be woke? Like, why do I see all these fucking nasty-ass blue-haired hogs are the one who are talking about all this woke shit? Am I crazy? Like it's like you gotta like it's like they get debuffed IRL so much that their brain becomes retarded too. It's like it's nuts.
Pretty viral post in the CN community on Billy talking about getting Paimon recasts. I love that one that was like, Hoyo, if you recast Paimon, I will spend $1,000 on Genesis Christmas.
Why do you think? I know why it is.
Responses here on our Genshin Impact. For example, this one that says comparing Steelworker.
They want more ugly characters, that way they can have representation.
First of VAs is wild. And
brother, look at yourself. I'm beautiful. What do you mean? Bald is beautiful, man.
Completely idiotic. What is this guy on? Well, that's what makes it so much funnier too, and something we talked about before. The fact that little Kribo seems to think he's actually helping. Dude thinks he is actually helping by making the worst takes over and over again on Blue Sky, especially considering how the fan base actually supported them until they decided to threaten and bully someone. Then they insult the entire fan base for not supporting workplace harassment. Very shameless and entitled behavior. And fan support is actually pretty important for the strike because it makes it more difficult for studios to replace VAs due to potential backlash. Yes, it is extremely important. We discussed that before, although I didn't really go into detail as much as I could have, which I guess I'll elaborate on right now really quick. So for SAG-AFTRA, this is not the same sort of strike as a steelworker strike, obviously for a lot of reasons. We already talked about that a little bit, but also we don't even need to talk about it. It's very obvious. But here's the point. SAG-AFTRA in of itself, the nature of this union being in the public, given that it's the entertainment industry, they have routinely relied for this strike and others in the past on the public support and having the public help them pressure companies into signing agreements, etc., that SAG-AFTRA wants. So this is what they've been doing. This is a part of their playbook, so to speak, relying on public support and or fan support. Lastly, we'll take a look at this comment that says, "Can little Kribo shut the frick up?" Quote, support is expected to appear when the strike starts, unquote. As if there hasn't been support from fans the whole strike.
You'd certainly hope.
Place the VAs, they'd always get downvoted. It wasn't until they started to harass people that the support started to waver. Yeah, there are two big reasons why support is disappearing. One, VAs being absolute terrible. Two, strike not being about AI, but about SAG trying to bend studios to itself. Yeah, and the second point, actually, as a lot of you guys know, is a big reason why the strike was actually losing support for months already. Way before the Jacob Takanashi stuff occurred, more and more people were withdrawing their support for the strike because they were looking into it further and seeing that these people were being misleading and or manipulative, etc. Then the Jacob Takanashi stuff happened, and people withdrawing support and criticizing the strike only proliferated from there. Who's Little Kribo even voicing? I'm not using Yen voice, so I'm not familiar with any of these names. Nobody. He just has a wife who's a part of SAG who tried to pull the same BS on him.
Oh my God, bro. He ain't even in the fight. He's another one of these white knights. You're like, don't worry, guys. I will fight for you. Holy fuck, bro's an MTash viewer. Come on, man.
Hades too. Which, yes, we're still going to talk about. Maybe that's what we'll cover tomorrow. It's going to be a fun one. The VA that got kicked out of the game for trying to strong-arm Hades into signing the SAG union exclusivity agreement? Good riddance. And the most hilarious part, she tried to basically turn the fans into her own personal army to put pressure on the company, and failed. Now Little Kribo's tone is about how consumer support is supposed to disappear. I'm sure there's absolutely no bitter connection between these two things. Okay, and I mentioned that Karina's Blue Sky was still getting worse, even after the screenshot of the stuff we took a look at in that Reddit post, and that's because I don't believe this was included in the Reddit post, but she also reposted this from Little Kribo, where Little Kribo says, "I don't believe anything lost during the strike cannot be regained." This, based off his prior statements, seeming to be a very clear implication that they can regain fan support. Yeah, okay, bro, keep coping. However, it's a different matter if the strike ends now. You cannot regain enforceable AI protections if you never first gain them. You cannot regain this momentum, and there is momentum, whether it's visible or not. Dude is huffing so much copium, bro. Then there's this one which we read a few days ago, but we'll take a look at this again really quick. If you're an actor participating in the strike of certain video games and you feel discouraged by the response to certain games being struck, I highly recommend looking at how people are talking about the strike outside of those games' fandoms. There's plenty of positive conversation and support. Yeah, in your echo chamber. And then we've got this one.
Yeah, just look outside the players that are playing the game who care about the game. Everybody else outside the game who doesn't care about the game thinks you guys are on the right. Yeah, maybe we should just look at the parties that are involved. Because I'll be real, you're right. A random 45-year-old man at Walmart probably doesn't care about what's going on with Genshin Impact and will tell you whatever you want to hear. But when you're talking about the issues, talking to people who have firsthand experience are the people who have the most valid opinions.
I've seen talk of how it's quote-unquote awful to be a voice actor right now. I'd put it to you that it would be far worse if the strike ended today and actors were left at the mercy of AI. I would argue that I've never seen a greater sense of pride, community, and resilience from most VAs I've spoken to. He then responds to Shauna Breyer, the VA for Wookalamat, and Karina reposting this too, where Little Kribo says, "It has been a little alarming to see certain voice actors who have said nary a thing while their colleagues get threatened and while the line is being held by a quiet majority suddenly find their voice to say, hey guys, let's not. You're hurting the efforts of people who need to fight." So this dude constantly vague posts about things that seem to be referencing the statement that Allegra Clark made. And he's made like numerous separate tweets that are just like vague posting about what she said, trying to refute it. but he's not like actually quoting her or directly saying her name. My point is, it's coming off really cowardly and weird. Same exact thing with this VA Shauna Breyer, the VA for Wooklomat. We read this statement from her the other day where she was also seemingly upset at Allegra Clark, the implications that her post is about what Allegra Clark had said. And you got Little Crebo and Shauna Breyer acting the same way towards Allegra Clark, seemingly, while Karina's just reposting all of it. And it's such a bizarre thing to watch. This is a little bonus I want to talk about really quick. This response to Shauna Breyer I thought was funny, where this person says, and I think this is a VA too. Let me see here. If I recall, aspiring VA, I should say. Oh, you can't see it on screen. Well, there you go. As in post-production, you can see, yeah, this person is an aspiring VA. And they say, fans need to suck it up as well. Call out the VAs who apparently don't care. We're literally all in this together because y'all can't succeed if you don't have the support. So the second part of that is much better than what Little Crebo is saying. At least this person admits that they do need support. But the first part is hilarious. Like, what the frick are you talking about? Fans?
I'll be real. Fans have no right to suck it up at all. If they are consumers and they are spending money on a product and they are unsatisfied with that product, they have absolutely every single right to complain within reason. And it is very reasonable to say, hey guys, it's been 9 fucking months. Let's wrap this shit up. Clearly it's not working because now we're just dragging down everybody into our own misery.
Fans need to suck it up as well. Call out the VAs who apparently don't care.
They don't got to do shit. Y'all don't got to do shit.
The VAs who care, aka the ones who want to work or are working, are the ones who are getting the fan support. But this person's like, oh, the fans need to suck it up and call them out. Yeah, nah. Think that's about where we'll wrap it up for today. Pretty funny seeing the Genshin Impact subreddit calling out Karina and Little Crebo now too.
I just can't believe Karina is now so horrified to say anything. Now she's just going to vague retweet anybody that goes along with her retarded ass narrative. What a absolute bitch. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe.